beautiful unicorns of the world, and welcome to another reading. If this is indeed the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So you guys, today's reading is not only going to be exciting, but also insightful. As you know, I'm highly active within my comment section, and I saw that you were requesting readings about finances, your career, so you ask and I provide. That's just how this channel works. And I have an exciting little co-star that I'm going to be debuting within the 3 individual readings. Today, I'm going to be using a pendulum within each reading in order to receive more accurate messages for you. So if you're intrigued to figure out what the future of your finances as well as your career is going to look like, choose one of these 3 groups. Pick whichever crystal that you feel the most genuine connection towards. And if you do feel drawn to 2 crystals, that is not a problem whatsoever. The only thing that means is that your personal reading is a mixture between 2 groups. So the 3 groups that you get to choose from are as follows. We have the Tourmaline in Quartz, we have the raw Amethyst, as well as the Apophyllite. But as usual, the timestamps to each one of these groups can be found in the description box as well as pinned to the comment section by myself. And if you're completely new to my channel and you enjoyed your reading, make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as turn on your notification bell. And for further updates, make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Vanessa and I. So yeah, guys, that is it for the intro. I would rather spend more time within the individual readings. So I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Tourmaline in Quartz, and to all my other gorgeous groups. I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Tourmaline in Quartz. This is such a gorgeous mineral. If you would like exactly this mineral, we have the links in the description box prepared for you. This is a stone that helps clear negativity as well as protects you from EMF. So it's a very protective energy that we have here within your reading about your future finances. But let's move into it in order to figure out exactly what is going on for you financially. So we have the 9 of Cups as well as the 10 of Pentacles. We have very good news for you, group number 1. In the 10 of Pentacles, one thing that I see here is just the fact that you have financial satisfaction as well as fulfillment coming for you. And in the 9 of Cups, I see that you kind of are going to come to a point where you have all of the quote-unquote trophies and achievements that you desired, but there is still just a little part of you that is asking themselves, what can I do in order to just get that extra bit of happiness that will make me feel ultra fulfilled? So I want you to look out for that a little bit, because you're going into a point in time where financially and in your career, you're very satisfied with your achievements, and you've most likely been able to accomplish things that you set your mind to do. You may feel like it's still not good enough even when you've gotten there, okay? So that is something that you have to look out for, kind of being a bit of a perfectionist, kind of continuously putting pressure on yourself, your finances, as well as your career, even when you're in a very favorable spot. But group number 1, I want you to know that the 10 of Pentacles is really one of the most favorable cards when it comes to finances. It is one of the most favorable cards when it comes to earthly possessions and belongings, so know that you're on the right track when it comes to that. Then we have the mutable moon as well as the new moon in Taurus. So I want you to know here in the mutable moon that nothing is set in stone, okay? And I want to figure out exactly what that has to do with, you know, just the situation about your emotional feelings that I see here in the 9 of Cups. So we have a lot about just not yet being ready, having to kind of be a little flexible. You know, so I definitely feel here as though the path that you're on right now is not set in stone. So what I feel is that emotionally you're on the right path, okay? So when it comes to what you desire, when it comes to where you're trying to go with yourself as a person in order to achieve success in your career, you're on the right path with that. But this career path may not be the right one for you, okay? I see here in the new moon in Taurus that prosperity lies ahead, but you may have to kind of not be as stubborn as a Taurus can typically be and tell yourself when you've gotten enough or everything that you can out of a current job situation or just a current situation of a financial opportunity. And when you have to say goodbye to an old job and goodbye to an old opportunity and move on to something new that is hopefully more prosperous and just, you know, heralds a lot more opportunity for you. Because one thing that I see here is that you're given a lot of opportunity, you're given a lot of responsibility, which you're somebody who is capable of kind of dealing with. But when you're underwhelmed, when you're not given enough chances to truly figure out, you know, where your limits are, you get bored easily. And when you're kind of, I don't want to say underworked, when you're not being brought to a point where you have to be creative, where you have to problem solve, where you have to just show the best part of yourself, you kind of feel a little meh about the situation. But let's move further into it. We have the seahorse as well as the peacock. So group number one, you're really just on a roll here, okay? The peacock is an animal that shows a lot of prosperity, a lot of abundant energy. So I want you to know that that is, of course, amazing news when it comes to your finances as well as your career, okay? In the seahorse, I see here that one thing that you're going to struggle with, though, is equality, okay? Equality at your workplace, equality just in your business in general. So you may be, for instance, a woman, or you may be a person of a certain demographic or of a certain kind of look, ethnicity, that may struggle in situations to feel like there's equality here, or to feel like people are actually giving you as much of a chance as they would give somebody else. But I want you to know that there comes a certain point here in your career where equality kind of goes without say, but you might have to prove yourself more than other people. You might have to put in a little bit more work, but you're most likely already kind of used to that. You're most likely already used to proving people wrong. So I don't want that to get you down. I want you to know that with all of this like amazing, abundant, prosperous energy that lies ahead when it comes to your career and your finances, the right choice for you to make is to not allow anybody to bring you down, is to not allow any situation to make you feel lesser than or unqualified, but instead to just keep going, you know, just keep the blood pumping, keep yourself energized, and just keep moving forward, pushing forward. Then we have the fixed moon as well as the south node. Okay, so one thing that I see here is that you have to be very weary of the past making a reappearance, okay? In the fixed moon, I see that you have to hold your vision. So let's figure out if the vision that you hold for your future, you know, be it a job, be it just something that you want to achieve, whether this is the right path for you, because sometimes we want to achieve a certain goal, a certain kind of status, or a certain job, which is not meant for us. So let's figure out exactly where you stand when it comes to that. If this is the right path for you, or if you have to go into a completely different sector, like we kind of spoke about when it comes to, you know, this 9 of Cups situation here, as well as the fact that we have the mutable moon and nothing is set. Okay, so one thing that I see here is that we're not 100% sure. The path that you're supposed to be on is kind of like unknown, okay? Group number one, the path that you're meant to go on when it comes to your career is something that not many people have tried. It's something new. It's something that you don't know much about. It's something that the people around you aren't very familiar with. So I don't want that to scare you. I don't want that to make you feel as though you can't do it. So that could be, for instance, you know, making money with a very new kind of business online. A lot of people around you may not be familiar with it. They may not even know that you can make money online, but you can feel in your heart like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this business is about, but it seems like this is the right step for me. It seems like this is something that is going to have a prosperous kind of end for me. So don't be afraid to branch out into areas that you know nothing about, because you don't need necessarily knowledge in order to thrive. You just need a willingness to work hard, the capability to be a student of life when it comes to your finances as well as your career, and to never feel like too afraid to try something new. Then we have the Sun as well as the Tower. So we have strong kind of polarities here. The Sun is a card that is all about happiness, joy, bliss, just kind of like basking in the sunlight, you know, in the warmth. And then in the Tower, we kind of have the ultimate card where something has to be destructed in order for a new build to be able to kind of be put on that same ground. So I definitely see as though you're on the right path with what you desire, with the goals that you have, but there are certain things that you're going to have to break down. Like I said, your current job, there may be some kind of beliefs that you have about money, or just yourself in correlation to money and how much money you believe you should be making or you can be making, or just what material wealth really is to you, where I see that you have a little bit of work that can be done in order to ensure that you don't get frustrated and you don't say to yourself, oh, you know, nothing ever works for me. It's very important that you stay on the ball, because in the Sun, one thing that I see is that there's definitely the possibility here to have it all, okay? That is what I see for you, group number 1, but you're going to have to definitely put in a little bit of work. Having it all isn't going to just fall into your lap. You're going to have to learn to get rid of any thoughts that make you feel like you're not deserving of a certain amount of money or not deserving of a certain kind of like status, and to just focus on the goal, focus on what you thrive in, focus on, you know, the work that you enjoy doing, because everything else is just noise. So I see kind of like the biggest distraction being noise coming from your own head, okay? Your own mental space is almost like your biggest opportunity to make it in your career, but also your biggest challenge, okay? Your biggest enemy at times. Then we have the Jackal as well as the Butterfly. So I definitely see here in the Jackal that being truthful towards yourself and also, you know, reasons why you're a certain way is going to allow you to just connect with your soul in a way how you can invite more material financial prosperity in. So what do I mean by that, group number 1? You have to be truthful with what you believe that you are allowed to acquire. So some of us may feel like, oh, like we would love to make $1 million a year, but in our soul, at our core, mentally, we have a blockage at like 6 figures, or maybe you can't even get over 6 figures because of that mental blockage. You know, maybe you're struggling to even just do over minimum wage because mentally you're holding yourself back. So if you understand what I mean, group number 1, leave a little butterfly emoji down below in the comment section in order to let me know. So I want you to know that in order to get through those blockages, to bring them down, to kind of destroy them, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be truthful with yourself and say to yourself, like, look, I need to build a completely new foundation. In the Jackal, we have the number 44, and the number 4 is a number of just kind of like security, okay? We have 4 seasons, we have 4 like directions and so on. I want you to know that that is a number that just kind of shows stability and finding a place where you feel like, okay, I know what is going on in my head, I know how to work on it, and now all I need to do is actually work on it. You know, meditate on your mindset when it comes to money. A lot of us are never able to achieve our financial goals or our goals in our career because deep down inside we feel like we're not worthy, or we feel like we can't accomplish it, and we keep kind of pushing it to tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. It's almost like self-sabotaging, procrastinating, kind of standing in your own way, really, group number 1. And it's important for you to get out of your own way, to be honest with yourself about why you do it. You know, maybe it stems from childhood trauma. Maybe you've been through something where teachers or your parents told you, you probably won't be able to make it anyways. You should focus on marrying somebody who can make that money. You should focus on just getting a regular job with benefits. Forget about your big dream of being an entrepreneur. You know, there's so many different scenarios that can weasel their way into your mindset and change it for good, change it forever. So once that has happened, you have to slowly dismantle it. And I know it's a really annoying process, group number 1, because it's like, I didn't put that mindset there. I was kind of given that mindset without being able to choose. that was just kind of what happened to me as a child or as a teenager or even in my adult life, and now it's my job to, you know, clean it up. I know it's unfair, but at the same time, what's the alternative? The alternative is to continue to allow other people's projections of themselves or how they would like to see you just continue to be a part of your life and continue to steer your life. And do you want that, group number one? No, you don't want that. So make sure that you dismantle any beliefs that people had that they projected onto you. Make sure that you remove those, that you recycle them, throw them away, throw them out into the universe. You no longer need them, because that is really the only thing that's coming in the way between you and greatness. We have a lot of amazing energy here for you, for your career and your finances. Make sure that you don't fall into this space where you feel like it's not here or it doesn't exist, because it does, group number one. There's a reason why you tuned into this reading, why you felt drawn to the Tourmaline in Quartz, and why you're here right now in this space of YouTube. Out of all of the videos that we got on here, you are here. So know that this is a sign, there's a reason why you're here. And if there's one thing I want you to take from your reading, is to not allow anybody else's projections, anybody else's beliefs to have an effect on your financial future. Your financial future is bright as long as you're in control and you're the one who's truthful with yourself and what is working and what you could change. So group number one, this is the reading that I received for you. I really hope that you enjoyed it and found it insightful as well as motivational. Let me know down in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the raw amethyst, which is such a gorgeous gem. It just glistens so beautifully in the light. The link to the stone is down below in case you're interested. The amethyst allows you to connect with your higher powers as well as your intuitive side and just, you know, your deeper, most core spirituality. But let's move into your reading to figure out what's happening for you financially as well as in your career. So we have the Wheel of Fortune as well as the Star. So I see a lot of hope on the horizon. I see a lot of opportunity and possibility for you, group number two. And I want you to know in the Wheel of Fortune that it's going to be a ride, okay? Your financial future as well as your career is going to take you through a lot of different steps, places, and eras that you never expected to be in. So expect the unexpected, quitting your job, starting to work as like, I don't know, a beekeeper, somebody who builds robots, somebody who sings for a living, who does a comedy, who owns a YouTube channel. I definitely see you taking a turn that is very quirky, that is very different, and that you never thought of before. You never even thought it was in the realms of possible until something lit up the horizon for you, okay? That is one thing that I see in the star. That is the word that I was looking for. Something lit up your kind of like horizon, something lit up your world and made you say, yes, I can actually do this. I can actually become this person that I thought was only possible in the movies. You know what I mean? So definitely look for that star in your horizon, in the sky around you, that is going to tell you like, hey, just take the leap, just try it. And then we have Justice as well as the Nine of Wands. Okay, so in the Nine of Wands, one thing that I see here is that exhaustion is something you should look out for, okay? In Justice, I see that balance is something that you maybe sometimes lack. So if you're, for instance, a Scorpio, you can be very intense, okay? Also, as a Leo, you can sometimes chew off a little more than you can actually eat, you know, put more on your plate than you can eat. The same goes for Aries. You always kind of want to be like the number one. You always want to be the one who is leading, who is winning, who takes the first turn. And I want you to know that it's okay to sometimes take it slow, because one thing that I see here is while there are so many things that are here as an opportunity that you never expected, you also did not expect that you could be somebody who feels very exhausted when there's just too much going on in their life. So I want you to really, really look out for that. And one thing that I want to see here is what that exhaustion exactly has to do with. So we have the pendulum just kind of doing its thing. I see it kind of cursing around the free will as well as not known a lot. So maybe, I definitely feel as though this has to do with decision fatigue, okay? The fact that you're not quite sure whether to go left or right, whether to leave your job or to stay, whether to give this another chance, this relationship another chance, or whether to move on with your life. I see that when there are a lot of different decisions, choices that need to be made, you kind of can almost remain complacent because you don't want to face those decisions. You kind of put them off to later, but in reality, we all know you're procrastinating, group number 2, but we all do that. So I want you to know that there's a reason why you also kind of felt drawn to the amethyst, okay? The amethyst, as I said, connects you to your higher spiritual self, which is what you need. In order to make these decisions, you're going to have to come to a place where you're like, look, everything's going to work out just fine. Everything is going to work out for the good of it all or not at all. If I have to walk through the rain, walk through a storm, I will just use an umbrella and I will get through it and the sun will shine again. So if you ended up choosing this reading, which is why you're here, leave a little umbrella emoji down below in order to let me know that you're here and that you made it to this point. But let's move further into your reading to figure out more about what's really going on with your financial future as well as your career. We have the peacock, which is a sign of prosperity, a sign of wealth, as well as something that a lot of people can be jealous and envious of. Then we have the jackal. So I definitely see here that prosperity and your success is going to bring a lot of truth to light. So by that, I mean, you know, people all of a sudden showing you their true colors. People all of a sudden kind of showing how they've always felt about you or how they've always felt about you being more successful than them. Because keep in mind, everybody's fine as long as we're all on the same level, but as soon as you start to take off, some people change. Some people have a whole different face to them. And then we have the horse as well as the wolf. So I definitely see here that your career has a lot to do with finding your authentic self. I feel like where you're at right now, you're maybe not 100% as authentic as you should be. And one thing that I see here in the horse is that just changing paths a little bit, diverging from the path, diverging, you guys know what I mean, sorry. Sometimes my German brain is just like all over the place, but I live in Switzerland, not Germany, for all of you who comment that. What I wanted to say is that sometimes you have to kind of stray from the path that you're currently on, even if it's just like a path right next to it. I want you to know that what's on the path right next to it, at the end of it, is sometimes so much more of what you wanted than being on the path that you're on right now that you feel like is okay, but maybe not 100% authentic to who you are. So I see that the most kind of prosperity, the most balance, the most success only comes when you're being authentically yourself. You're not somebody who is good with pretending that you're okay with certain things. You're not somebody who is kind of like fine with inequality, with unfairness. You're outspoken when it comes to standing up for the underdog, and that may be because you've always been the underdog. You've always been into weird things. You've always been the one who has been different, who hasn't been afraid to kind of point out, you know, right from wrong. Then we have the full moon in Aquarius, as well as the new moon in Pisces. So I see meditation and contemplation as well as showing the world the real you. So just know, group number 2, that you have to just show the world more of who you are, more of the qualities that you bring, you know, that you are here to share with people. And don't be afraid about them just feeling a certain way about you that you're maybe not used to. Okay, the pendulum is very obviously just over yes. You definitely have so much more work that can be done when it comes to showing the world the true you, stepping outside of what you feel comfortable in. And I don't want this to be like your comfort zone. This is not your comfort zone. This is just a little zone that you built that you think is socially acceptable. So the socially acceptable zone. Step out of it, group number 2, okay? You don't need to remain in this little box. You don't need to put yourself in this little just area that you don't fit in. Be yourself, be authentically you, okay? Financially, that will have the biggest benefit when it comes to your career. You will be able to climb that ladder, to get promotions, to be in the field that you need to be in order to be as successful as you possibly can be. That can all only happen when you're in a space where you feel like you're not tired every day, where you don't feel like you wake up and you're annoyed that you have to go to this office, to this workplace, that you have to start doing these tasks, okay? If you're annoyed, it's not the right thing. If you're unhappy with it, if you dread it, it is not authentically you. Of course, work is labor. Labor is never fun, but there's a big difference between doing work that you love and you're passionate about and doing work just to pay the bills. So I definitely see that that difference has the big impact when it comes to you. And that's why we spoke about at the beginning, you venturing into things that you never expected for yourself. And those things are happening exactly because of that, because you want to venture into something, you have to venture into something that you are genuinely into, that you are genuinely passionate about. Otherwise, success is just not going to follow. Then we have the rhino. So in the rhino, I see here that it's important for you, as we spoke about, to remain in a balanced spot. You have the tendency to overwork yourself when you want something. You have the tendency to work, to overexert your energy to the point where your body maybe cannot properly cope. And that is a dangerous spot to be in, group number 2. I want you to know that you don't need to just work hard all the time. Keep in mind that the faster you can learn, the faster you can earn. Often we procrastinate reading that book, listening to that podcast, just watching that informational content instead of our favorite series, which, by the way, right now is Tiger King. If you have seen that, leave a comment down below, leave a tiger emoji down below. That show is a masterpiece. Anyways, back to your reading. No, you can find it on Netflix. Okay, last thing about that. Back to your reading. As I said, instead of watching your favorite show, actually tuning into that documentary, into that content that is going to give you more knowledge, more insight that you can then use on your career as well as for your finances, okay? So that is really what is more important here than just working hard, than working 100-hour weeks. That is all not going to work for you. You're definitely the type that needs to work smarter, not harder, that needs to acquire more knowledge instead of just repeat the same task over and over again. That is not for you. You need to learn, you need to be able to implement that knowledge, and you need to be able to put yourself in a space where you're balanced enough, you have enough energy in order to want to learn. When your brain is kind of dead, when your energy is down, you're not ready to absorb new information. So make sure that you keep your spirits up and that you kind of take a step back, okay? Sometimes you just need some days to get inspired, almost like an artist. So you have to give yourself that, group number 2. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you about your financial future as well as your career. We had lots of tips, we had lots of things that you need to look out for. So I really hope that you feel prepared for what life has to offer. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home the most, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading about your financial future as well as your career. You chose the Apophyllite, which is such a gorgeous gem. Let me do a quick close-up for you. It just sparkles very beautifully in this kind of like pale gray, pale blue. The link to this crystal is down below in case you're interested in it. So I want to move into your reading to figure out exactly what is happening with your financial future. So we have Temperance as well as the Page of Wands. So I see a lot of ideas flowing around. I see that when it comes to your career as well as your financial future, there are a lot of things that are going to be tempting you, okay? Group number 3. So these are things like, for instance, maybe getting another credit card, maybe getting a mortgage that is really big, really high because they're telling you, well, you'll get a bigger tax break. So I want you to know that these things that tempt you can go either way. You can either go for them if you're in a vulnerable place or if you're in a place where you feel uninspired, or you can just calmly say, no, this is not the right time for it. In order to secure my financial future, I need to make sure that I'm keeping all my coins in check. And that is where I see in the Page of Wands that you have a lot of learning about personal finance finance that you're still going to need to do until you're not tempted anymore, okay? In the temperance card. The temperance card is all about kind of spending more than you earn, spending more than you know you should or you know is good, and just kind of, you know, telling yourself, oh, why not treat myself? Even though, you know, treating yourself could also be a day out in the woods, which is completely free, but you choose to fill a void with something material at whatever given point in time. So I definitely see a little bit more work can be done with that, where you get to the point where you feel like you're more inspired by being creative, by having time to yourself, say in the nature or say creating music or art. That makes you happier than purchasing things or than thinking about the newest sort of life upgrade that you could get, like for instance, a car, a house, you know, a new place to live, a new sofa that you would have monthly installments on, which is not a good idea, okay? So stay away from any of those decisions at this point in time, because now you're in a vulnerable place. Now you're not quite where you need to be. In the dog, one thing that I see is that you can benefit from a mentor very greatly. There is most likely somebody that is going to come into your life. This could be a physical person or somebody that you don't know, somebody that you'll only know through books. So for instance, if there is an author that you find amazing that pushes you to reach new heights when it comes to your career and your finances, and you just feel so connected to them, almost like you know them, almost like your friends, okay? Then one thing that I see here is that they're like your mentor, but it is always a good idea to seek out a real mentor that you can speak to. So if you, for instance, want to start up a YouTube channel, if you want to start your own business, talk to somebody who's already been there, speak to somebody who has already done it in order to ensure that you're getting great advice. And know that mentors are people who have already made it to a certain point in their life or in their career and want to help others. They usually don't charge unless they're giving you a certain kind of like package, you know? So unless they're setting up something for you or doing something for you that is out of just advice, they usually don't charge you. So know that that is not mentorship when you're just paying somebody to talk to them every now and then. Then we have the meerkat. So in the meerkat, I see here that there's a lot more responsibility coming for you, which just shows that your career is going to develop to a point where you're kind of like the person that others come to when they need to get an okay on the next step, okay? So one thing that I see is that it's important for you to always be on the lookout, okay? You're the person who's almost like the visionary, and you may think to yourself, I can't even see it coming when somebody is about to ghost me. Like I can't even see it coming when I have a faux friend within my vicinity. So how am I supposed to, you know, see beyond anything when it comes to business or my career? I want you to know that you don't have to worry about other areas of your life. One thing that you have here is kind of like a gift, something that you're good at when it comes to your finances and your career, is just that you can already feel when things are not going well. You can already feel when things are going in a direction that's going to end up being disastrous and not how you desired for it to be. So use that sixth sense and don't doubt it. And then we have a justice. So we're going to need you to kind of just trust that intuition, as well as trust it when you feel like things are deeply out of balance. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So in the Wheel of Fortune, I see here that at the end of the day, it's kind of really up to you. So that makes me feel as though you're the person in a power position. You're the person who is, you know, like the CEO, the head of the business, the one giving others advice. So I want to figure out exactly where your sixth sense is at right now in order to help you figure out how that will affect your financial future and what you can do. Okay, so I definitely see here that we're kind of circling over free will, okay? So I see here that your sixth sense is actually in a better spot than you may have thought, group number 3. So that leads me to think that your intuition is still very pure. Your intuition is still in a spot where it can be molded. Your intuition is in a place where it's kind of just straight out of your gut feeling, like straight out of your instinctual side. It's not biased. When you feel something, that's how it is. it's not at a point where you're trying to infuse logic into it or make sense out of it. Like when you feel something, you feel it. When you think something, that is your initial thought. What you do after that initial feeling, that is of course tied to logic, that is tied to past experiences, but you have this very pure initial sense, this initial spark of when something is right or something is wrong. So use that in your career to spot good as well as shady, shifty business opportunities within your career, okay, within your financial future. Then we have the deer as well as the gorilla. So one thing that I see here is that you're really you're really at peace when you're in power. That is one thing that I see here. When it comes to your finances, you're the kind of person who needs to be in control. You're the kind of person who needs to feel like your money isn't just floating around everywhere in order to feel at peace with yourself, as well as just kind of at peace with your financial world, okay? So you have to take your power back. That is one thing that I see. So it is not quite the right time for you to act on that right now. That is one thing that I see here from the pendulum, okay? It's very important for you to take more time to educate yourself. So don't act right now. Like I said, don't purchase anything that you will have to like make installments on, okay? Whether that is a house, a car, whether that is like something that you don't necessarily need, anything that you can't like afford over a few times over, do not purchase it right now, group number 3. It is not the right time. You still need to educate yourself a little bit more about how you can become financially free and how you can be on a path that is going to lead you towards just like financial success as well as success in your career. And you might need that money that you would spend on something that you're not quite ready to purchase right now. You might spend that money on that instead of spending it on, say, a seminar, some books that can educate you, maybe online courses. I understand not everybody wants to sit down and read books. Not everybody enjoys doing so, but there are also a lot of online classes, online courses that are taught by people who have been wildly successful, people who are legit, but of course they're not free because you're getting that knowledge that they had to like make mistakes, they had to lose money in order to be able to teach you how to not make those mistakes. So definitely don't spend your money frivolously right now. You might need it, you will need it to educate yourself, and you will definitely be happy to have it when you start up your own thing, when you have to kind of get a little bit of, say, inventory, when you have to purchase a domain, a website, product, just different things that you will need when it comes to your career and furthering where you're at from now. So we have the supermoon, we have the full moon in Capricorn, as well as the full moon in Aries. Okay, so group number 3, one thing that I see here in the supermoon is the fact that one thing that can get in the way is your emotions. It's important for you to kind of like get those under control, okay? I see here in the full moon in Aries, maybe you're somebody who has very fiery energy, like for instance, energy of an Aries, but you may also just be emotional if you're, for instance, a Pisces, a Scorpio, a Cancer. That is something that you have to learn to get under control, because emotional intelligence is makes a far bigger difference when it comes to your financial success and the success in your career than, just academics. Academics is one thing. A lot of people who are straight A students who do amazing academically are not good business people, okay? And there's a reason for that, because they learned that making mistakes is something bad. That is what school teaches you. You have straight A's if you don't make mistakes. But amazing business people know that in order to be able to create a business, you will make mistakes. You have to make mistakes in order to learn, okay? Because there's no handbook like in school or when you're studying that just teaches you exactly what to do. You kind of have to figure it out as you go. And if you're too afraid to make mistakes, you will be too afraid to even start, to even start to crawl before you walk, before you run, because you're afraid that you'll just like trip. So you forever stay on the ground, you forever stay crawling because you never kind of had the courage to take on that next step. So I want you to know here that getting your emotions in charge. Making sure that your emotional intelligence is something that you're kind of putting in the forefront, is something that you're, what's it called again? What's the word? Prioritizing, that you're prioritizing. That is one thing, and that is super important for your financial career, for your success, you know, just for your financial success, your career, whatever you want to do that has to do with the material realms, with your earnings, with just your stability when it comes to that. Then in the full moon in Capricorn, one thing that I see here is that going through a tough cycle is coming to an end. If you feel like you're going through a tough cycle right now when it comes to your career, your financial state, that may be why you tuned into this reading, okay? So if you did tune into this reading because of that, or you know, you just made it to this point of the reading, leave a little money back emoji down below in order to let me know. And also just kind of like as a good luck token, as I can see here in the full moon in Capricorn, that a difficult cycle is going to end here in the earthly realms. You know, you're getting to a point where there's more happiness, more hope on the horizon, where you can see more clearly where your path is taking you when it comes to your finances and your career. So the most important thing is for you to just not allow yourself to get sucked in to any like deals, into anything that is a weird business opportunity, because right now what you need more of is to build financial confidence, is to educate yourself, and to just build like a mindset of wealth so that that can transpire into the earthly realms. Because if you go out there and you start business and your mindset is just where it's always been, you're going to have the results that you always had. You're going to stay on the same financial plateau. So keep in mind that change starts within you. It doesn't, you know, it's not something you can acquire. Even the best business idea is not going to be able to work if the person executing it has, you know, a mindset that is just not compatible with wealth or success. So make sure that your mindset is compatible with what you want to achieve. And if it is not, then you can work on it. You know, it's no big deal. Everybody who is, say, a business person, an entrepreneur, has to work on themselves regularly in order to get out of plateaus and onto kind of like the next levels when it comes to their career, when it comes to their finances. So know that it's just like a constant work in progress. Don't beat yourself down about anything, and don't be hard on yourself, okay? You have enough responsibility coming towards you. You have enough times where people are looking up to you to make a decision where you're just like, oh my God, how did I get to this place? But know that, you know, there's no point in stressing out right now. Just focus on your growth. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it inspiring as well as motivational. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.